and welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. We're going to introduce you to just a handful of our adoptable pets in this episode. Harley is FCAC's longest resident, and she is definitely loved by our staff and volunteers. But unfortunately, it's quite sad that this shelter has been Harley's most stable home environment in her entire life. At 4 years old, the 2 years that she spent here have been the most consistent that she's had. And we want that to change. We want the rest of Harley's life to be filled with consistent forever family where she's going to get all the things that she loves. You know, Harley is best suited for life as an only pet, but she's really all you're going to need because she checks all the boxes, especially if you're an active dog savvy family. Harley loves to, run around and play fetch and go on hikes. She loves to go swimming, whether she's, jumping in the river or a creek on a hike, or whether she's playing in the pool in the backyard. She loves toys of all kinds. She loves going for car rides, especially if she gets to ride shotgun. She loves tasty treats, French fries, chicken nuggets, pizza crust, ice cream, all of those goodies. And, she does need to kind of be, your only pet. But again, she's checking off all those things. She's going to be your cuddle monster. She's going to be your playtime, your go-to girl for, fetch in the backyard, all of those types of things. Because Harley needs a lot of activity, she's not recommended for homes that are apartments. She really needs to have more space to run around, whether you have a fence yard or you're just putting her on a long line. That's going to be really important for her. And because she can be a little opinionated about, her things, and she doesn't necessarily always want to share those things. We're looking for older kids. We don't really young kids with Harley full-time in a home basis. But, again, has a couple of management needs, but overall she's a really lovely, fairly easy dog, especially if you're a dog savvy family. And if you are an active family and you want an active dog, then definitely stop in and meet with Harley. And the best way to go about starting that process is to go to visit fcac.as.me. Mikey is FCAC's lovable hound, and he's also one of our senior dogs at about 5 years old, but he definitely has the energy level of a much younger guy. He is a typical hound in that he wants to follow his nose. He wants to sniff everything. He wants to check it all out. He is a fairly good listener. He's very treat motivated, so fairly easily redirected from following that nose. In a home environment, Mikey does incredibly well. On outings, he does incredibly well. He does not like shelter life, and we would love to see him be able to wave goodbye to shelter life. He actually recently went on an outing, and the volunteers that took him out have nothing but good things to say about Mikey. As soon as he gets in the car, he kind of decompresses. He gets so excited. He walks perfectly on his leash. He's not bothered by things that are going around. Is he interested? Yes, but he's not overly distracted. He wants to engage with other dogs. He wants to play, and he is very dog friendly, but he can be a bit of a resource guarder. So if you're not dog savvy, he is going to be best suited as the only dog in the home. If you have a lot of dog experience and can work on management and some behavior modification in terms of that resource guarding, then he's definitely a dog that can do well as a second or third dog in a home. But again, managing those resources in terms of food and toys is going to be really important. But Mikey is a delight outside of the shelter. He recently went to a training academy, and they were like, he's like the star of this training academy. He does so well outside of this environment. In this environment, he is on some medications, things like that, to kind of make him a little bit less anxious, but those are probably not things that he would need to be on long term. It's just here in this stressful environment. And if you want to be the family that puts all of this stress behind Mikey and just gives him that happily ever after, you can go to visit fcac.as.me to book an appointment to meet him and start that process. Taz is the king of sploots around here. He has the best sploot, and he has just hit 1 year as a shelter dog, and that's a sad milestone. For him to know that we haven't been able to find him a loving home in a shorter period of time, but it's also a good thing because it means that we know a lot about Taz and we know the type of home that's going to be best suited for him. Um, and we can take all of that information and really pass it on and again try to get him situated in the right forever home for him. Taz is just under 4 years old, so we have him down at about 3 years 8 months. He is a little bit of a smaller pitty, but definitely a muscular active guy, just under 50 pounds. A beautiful brindle coat, great smile, and he is a guy that kind of comes in a little bit hot with a lot of energy, and then once he is out for a while, or he has time to kind of acclimate to a new environment, he settles in pretty nicely. He walks fairly nicely on a leash once he's got those initial zoomies out. We've taken him to schools, and he's done well with sitting quietly. Gets a little bored after a good 30 minutes or so, but that's understandable. Easily redirected with some toys, but again, very quiet, very well mannered, rides nicely in the car. He also did really well at a training academy. He has some of those basic good manners, at least the foundations under his belt. He is a dog that does like affection, doesn't so much like people messing with his, around his face, but likes, to have his belly rubbed and his body rubbed. And he just wants, nice, quiet cuddles. Just kind of sitting quiet with him at the end of the day is something that he enjoys. So again, a dog that's going to go out and play with you and run around and go on hikes and things like that. But at the end of the day, he just wants to, settle down, relax, and chill. Taz is a dog that we think will likely do well with cats with a proper introduction. But in terms of dogs, he can see them out and about, if you're on a walk, things like that. But he doesn't necessarily want them directly in his space bubble, doesn't really want to live with other dogs. So he's best suited to be the only dog in the house. And if only, you only need one dog and you want Taz to be that dog, you can go to visit fcac.as.me to start that process. Cats have been moving into forever homes pretty quickly on the adoption floor, but one of our sets of cats, our only bonded pair, Princess and Shadow, aren't moving as quickly, aren't getting a lot of interest. And part of that is because there's two of them, and sometimes people are only looking for one cat. But more importantly, and probably more likely, is because they're a little bit on the shyer side. So we think it's really important to showcase them and give them some extra attention. These guys are siblings that came to us because their owner took them in as stray kittens, but has severe allergies, and just it wasn't something that was working out well in terms of that person's health anymore. So did try to find homes for them through other avenues, but one was unable to do so, brought them here to us so that we could help with that. These guys are about 2 years old. They're both already altered. They are both black and white, and they do have some slightly distinctive marks that kind of help tell them apart. Princess only has one little white mark on her face. Shadow has two. He also has like a little skin tag on his ear that really helps identify them when you're just looking at their faces. Shadow is the male, and he is a little bit more outgoing, and definitely very friendly, loves affection, but he's going to come out and greet people more frequently. He's going to be the first to kind of come out, keeps his sister feeling nice and safe. Princess is a little bit quieter, a little bit shyer, a little bit more hesitant. But again, they both love attention. They have a 3-way cage on our adoption floor, and the center one is covered, and that's just covered for comfort because they're a little bit nervous. And the way that our building is during renovation, a lot of people are walking by their cage all day. We want to give them more space, but we also want to make sure that they feel safe. So that center section where they like to hang out and sleep is a little bit covered so that it's not as overwhelming for them. But they are still in there. They are excited to see our volunteers, not necessarily running around and playing like some of the other cats, but just calm, gentle, pair that love each other and want the love of a nice family. Probably a nicer, quieter family might be best suited for these guys. So if you have it in your heart to take home, two cats that are going to need a little bit of time to feel comfortable and build a relationship with you, but that's what you're looking for, then go to visit fcac.as.me to book an appointment to meet with Princess and Shadow. Kittens kind of come and go, but the adult cats kind of stay with us a little bit longer. And Kitty is a cat that came in with two other cats. We're assuming they were her kittens. They were Skinny and Puffin, and they, as younger cats, kittens have already found their way into forever homes. But Kitty, who's just a young girl herself at just a year old, is still waiting for her forever home. She is a beautiful Torby, and she has a kind of forever kitten look about her herself, just because she's a more petite girl, and she's very sweet, very affectionate, and a lot of people are looking to add a cat to their household that's going to be able to be integrated with existing cats. And because she came in with other cats, we know that she's done that before and can cohabitate with other felines. She has had periods of just wanting to sit on a lap. She's playful, she's curious, she wants to kind of wander, and she's definitely ready to get out of her cage and into a home where she can have some more space to kind of hang out, wander, explore, play, lounge, all of those types of things. But she's been a very fun cat. She has had people express a lot of interest in her. Apps go on and fall off for one reason or another, and usually those things aren't the animal's fault. Sometimes they might realize that they're not necessarily prepared for an animal, or it's between this one and another one, and another one fits better. But it does go to show that she is a cat that is getting a lot of interest. She just hasn't found that perfect home yet. She is up to date on her vaccinations. She's been spayed, so she's ready to go. She's just waiting for that family to come in and decide that she is the one. If you have nice fluffy cat beds and plenty of room for her to explore and be curious, then head on over to visit fcac.as.me to book that appointment to meet with Kitty and maybe make her the newest member of your family. So we've introduced you to some of our long-term residents on the show today, but Marianne is one of our newest residents. She just hit the cat floor this week, and she is a beautiful cat. She's got that great dilute torty coloring going on with the grays and the creams. Definitely stands out. And she's another one of those petite girls that kind of gives you a little bit of that forever kitten vibe. But at 3 years old, you don't have to worry about any of those, crazy kitten zoomies or anything like that. Marianne is one of our very affectionate cats. She loves attention. She seeks it out. She's happy to come up to the front of her cage, and she's quick to purr when you're rubbing her ears and things like that. And she loves attention so much that when they were actually trimming her nails, it took very, very minimal restraint. She was just sitting there getting petted, and they were able to trim her nails just like that. So she is a very tolerant cat. There's no restrictions on, the types of home that she could live in terms of children, things like that, because she seems to have such a good temperament, and be so tolerant. She might be well suited for, again, homes with younger kids, or people who are not as cat savvy. Maybe this is their first time having a cat in their home. She should, fit right in with that type of environment. She seems to be ready to explore, but also ready to kind of hang out on a lap and get some attention. So kind of the best of both worlds there. But as she is one of our newest residents, we are still learning more and more about her. And if you, go to our Facebook pages, things like that, as volunteers are interacting with our animals, sometimes they will go and leave comments. So that's always a good place to check out to get up-to-date information on the animals as we as an organization are learning more about them too. But if you are already sold on Marianne's great qualities and her good looks, and you want to meet her, then you can go to visit fcac.as.me to do that. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed meeting these amazing adoptable pets. Keep tuning in for more.